Hello and welcome to House and Home Chat, Real Estate Real Talk with Dena and Chris. I'm Dena Mathis.
And I'm Chris Breitenbach. And we're coming to you today to talk to you about what you need to know when preparing your home for sale. And that's why we are titling this episode, Fix It or Forget It.
Yeah, and Chris and I get this question all of the time, don't we? We know that it can be confusing when you decide to put your home on the market and what type of updates to make that'll give you the biggest bang for your buck and the biggest return on investment, or even what repairs you should be making before you put your house on the market. So we're here today to help with those questions.
So first and foremost, it's important to really take a step back and look at the market that your house specifically is in. You know, our home's flying out the door with multiple offers in just a number of hours, or are you part of a market that's kind of toned down just a little bit? And you know, Dena and I are here to help you look at that market. So our first advice is talk to a trusted consultant, a trusted real estate agent like us, so that we can help you look at your market. And I'll give you a good example, right? There was a home that went on the market in a hot area back in September. And just when we were sliding just a little bit, brakes were being put on, upper price range, not quite that $1 million, but upper price range. And they decided to list just that tad bit high. At the same time, probably 5 other homes came on the market in that price range. Mm-hmm. And they were all very similar. So this house is still on the market today and hasn't sold.
That was September of 2022, and here we are in February of 2023. Wow.
So that's a little different market than, right, in terms of price points. Location hot, price point a little bit more challenging, more homes on the market for that particular home, and how did it measure up? Yeah. So again, it's hyper local in terms of both price and area and condition.
That's a great point, Chris, because, you know, the advice that you give today is not exactly the same advice that I would be giving 6 months from now, right?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So exactly. In the last 16 plus years that I've been selling real estate and a little bit more for you, right? We've been out there a long time, and the advice that we've given over time has certainly varied, right? And that brings me to our second point, and that point is timing. So how quickly are you looking to sell? Because if you tell me 3 weeks from now, I'm going to give you a different answer than if you tell me 3 months or 3 years, right?
Exactly. You know, for example, if you tell us you want to put your house on the market in 3 weeks, Dena and I are going to focus on what can we do quickly to get you the biggest bang for your buck. And so it's mostly going to be decluttering, maybe packing, maybe painting, cleaning. We know that's always my big one. Yeah. Cleaning, organizing, decluttering, and then some staging to get you on the market quickly. But, you know, if you tell me it's going to take 3 years, we're going to give you some longer term plans. And if you tell me 5 years, I'm going to tell you, you know what, design wise, do whatever you want. Maybe focus on some of the bigger items, home maintenance items that you want to keep up with over time. But really, at 5 years, anything goes. Great example, right? We work with interior designers, and one of my designers called me this week. She's working with somebody on a first floor bathroom. Okay. Has a wonky, it's actually a full bath, has a wonky shower in it. And
how old is the home? Like what year?
You know, that typical Masonish household. Oh, okay. So early 2000s. Yeah. Okay. And whatever, maybe a little bit older than that. They want to tear it out and put a closet because that suits what their needs are. Mm-hmm. And so my question was, how long are they going to be there? And they said forever.
Well, right.
So, you know, if they need that shower along the way, they've got the plumbing in place.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, if 10 years down the road or 20 years down the road, but otherwise they should do whatever they want for them.
Exactly. That livability and enjoyment, you know, is really important. So if your answer is, we're never going to move, then that's obviously a very different answer than we're going to move in 3 years, you know,
or 3 weeks,
right? And, you know, to that to that point, I just had a friend invite me over to their home.
Mm-hmm.
She and her husband have raised 4 children in that home. One is away at college, the other 3 are on their way, and they've really got that, we're going to be moving or transitioning at some point soon on the horizon. But in the meantime, the livability and enjoyment is really important to them. So, they're trying to figure out what type of updates do we make that makes sense, because we want to live here, we want to enjoy it, but in the next 3 to 4 years, we may be transitioning.
Yeah.
So that's a different conversation, right?
It is totally a different conversation. And I just want to interject here. One of the things that Dena and I are happy to do is we will come walk your home.
Right.
I invite people to invite us to your home so that we can walk you through and help you make those long-term and short-term plans.
Exactly. We're here to help. And that's part of what we love to do, really, is to talk you through your plan and come up with a plan that's right for you. And so that brings me to our third consideration, which is, we talked a little bit about making those updates. That third consideration is the condition of the comparable homes that are on the market currently, and also the sold comparables, right? So, I find this sometimes the most challenging conversation to have, Chris, with people who call you to their home and you're there to walk their home with you, and they say, the house down the street just sold for X number $600,000. That's what we want to list our home for. And as you're walking their home, you see that they haven't made the updates to the kitchen, to the baths, to the flooring, to the appliances. That may be the home that just sold, the comparable home sold for.
Right.
So that's a tough conversation to have. But it's an important conversation because you definitely are going to see the impact of the updates versus the home that has everything in its original form, right?
Yeah, great example. And this has just recently happened too. Obviously, we watch the market. So 2 homes in the similar neighborhood. One of them went on the market, really has not been updated since being built. I will tell you, I would find very few people able to pull their own furniture and style to the flooring specifically in the house. So I looked at that house and I'm thinking anybody looking at it or buying it is going to have to come in and tear out all the floors among some other updates. Well, not everybody's got hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay for on top of it. Huge home, 3-car garage has actually been taken off the market. I assume that the updates are now being done. Same neighborhood.
So it wasn't selling.
Wasn't selling.
Okay.
Same neighborhood, smaller home, only a 2-car garage, listed for the same price, but had that white kitchen, had those updates people are looking for, and it was sold before sent. So it didn't even make it to the public market, and somebody was already purchasing it.
Yeah, and that's interesting because not only you've got to take those things into consideration. Does it make sense for me to make those updates, or does it make sense for me to discount the home based on the updates that aren't part of the neighborhood comparables, right?
Right.
So you've got to be prepared to take that discount, and not only for the value in the update of the kitchen or whatever it is, but also, you're going to discount it based on the fact that it's going to take time, effort, and energy for that buyer to make those updates. So they're probably going to be looking at a deeper discount than just the value of the update itself.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And sometimes sellers are thinking, but that buyer can come in and do whatever they want. Well, maybe it's that buyer can come in and can't do whatever they want. And there's also programs, just to interject too, there are some programs and companies that will help you do some updates using the equity in your home.
Yeah.
And you don't pay for it until you hit the closing table. So there's
strategies
that we know that can help you get to that.
And maybe that's a conversation for a different podcast day, right? We'll revisit that one.
Exactly. So a fourth factor to consider is how well the home is actually cared for, right?
Definitely.
What does it look like? Does it look like it's been well cared for? Does it look like it's neglected? Oh my gosh, overgrown landscaping we know is one of my pet peeves. Doesn't cost you anything, just gives you some sweat labor to get in and clean that up. Broken appliances, cracked tiles.
Those things that are really visible, right?
Cleanliness. So most people who meet with me know that I am that air return vent. I am a stickler for cleaning your air return vent.
And that's an easy thing to do, right?
It's an easy thing to do, and yet it speaks volumes, and how many people forget that. But just again, speaks volume.
So definitely we say those types of things are definitely fix-it types of items, right? And even in this seller's market that we're in today, the question remains, will you sell it at list price? Will it go into multiple offers, or are you going to sell it under list? And these small things certainly will, those factors will make a difference. So a fifth consideration is whether it's what we call a first impression. And we know that first impressions are lasting impressions, right? So is it a first impression item? It really sets the tone and the mood for the whole rest of the showing. And I know that I've had clients who have, driven up to a home and refused to even go in the front door based on what they've seen from the outside. So I can't tell you how important that fifth consideration is, and that is making that, taking care of those first impression items. So if it's something that they're going to see,
landscaping.
If it's something that they're going to see driving by, walking up the walkway, or walking into the front door, those are the things that you want to make sure get taken care of. The front door, fresh, paint or stain or whatever, the cleanliness, the landscaping around you. All of those things are super important.
The door to the garage. I was at a house on Saturday that we almost did not go in because the garage, the rest of the house front was fine, but the garage probably needed to be painted, had a couple of dings in it, and there was wood rot at the bottom. And so we, before entering that house, already had a preconceived notion of what we were going to think about it, and it was fine on the inside.
It's
but that first impression.
Those items, you should definitely fix it, not forget it, but fix it, right?
And finally, the sixth important consideration that we're going to have is it a deal breaker item? Is if your roof is leaking, that's a
pretty
deal breaker item. And so the major things that you just need to do to your home really have to be a focus. And sometimes we don't think about those major things when we're thinking of selling our house. We're thinking about the superficial. But or water in your basement.
You don't want to put the money into it because you know that you're moving, but likewise the buyer is not going to want to put the money into it if they know that the HVAC is in in bad shape. If you have a leaking roof, if you have water in your basement, those types of things are what we consider majors, right? And those could be potential deal breakers for a lot of buyers, right?
Absolutely. So think about those along the way. Dena, it makes me think of we always talk about, right, are you staying or are you going? And part of my advice to my clients as they buy their home and they move into their home is, have a budget for what you put into your home every year. And whether it be for a structural item or for the fun stuff, all the fluff stuff, but set that budget from the start so that you are keeping up with those number 5 items, those deal breakers along the way. And it's not 20 years later and all of a sudden you need all of it, right? Windows, roof, siding,
Yes, right,
whatever,
all at once.
gutters,
Yeah,
all at one time.
and that's overwhelming. So we hope we've given you some things to think about if you're getting ready, and if you want to take it another step further. Like Chris mentioned, we're always available and happy to walk your home, because as maybe you've gathered from the conversation that we're having here, it is very specific to your own personal needs, and whether it's 3 months, 3 years, you're looking at different aspects, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So best way to reach us is to call us directly. My number is 513-919-7308. And Dena?
And I'm at 513-404-2360. Or you can email us at denaandchrisrealtalk@gmail.com. And we want to thank you all for joining us today. Our small business shout out, like we like to do every week, to a local small business. Today we're giving it to ourselves, right? Small business shout out goes to Dena and Chris. Call us with all of your local real estate needs. And even if a move out of state is something that you are considering relocating for a job, we are happy to help with our referral partners in other states and really coordinate the whole transaction of that move for you from the selling end to the buying end. And before we check out, I want to tell you how cute you look today, Chris.
Well, thank you. It's Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. For you, it was yesterday.
Yes.
But for us, it is Valentine's today, so we're celebrating.
We're celebrating love today. Big love. I got my sweater on with love.
Love you, Dena.
Look, I love you too, Chris. Oh, yeah. We even have heart earrings on. Look at the cute.
You got the little heart earrings.
So we want to wish everybody a happy post Valentine's Day, but a happy Valentine's Day week and month, right?
Yes, and hope it's full of love.
Hope it's full of love. Take care. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Bye.